Okay, this is just a quick, well, hopefully quick thing to show off Apollo 8's general PTC procedure here. I have the checklist pulled up in the MFD off screen here. The first thing I need to do is much better turn off one of those cabin fans. It's loud in here. Okay, so we just finished performing the mid-course correction 1 burn just a short while ago. There's actually a couple other steps on the checklist that we should be performing between now and when we do PTC, including a couple P23s and a P21, in addition to, more importantly, a fuel cell O2 purge. But I'm just going to skip over those just because the main focus here is, of course, the PTC. So Apollo 8 generally uses a pitch and yaw of 331 degrees, which is noted in the checklist in the flight plan section. So, ignore my, I'm testing a couple other experimental branches here with this 3D cockpit here, so I'm probably going to be fumbling around here a little bit. So first thing is switch us to CMC free, ensure our BMAGs are in rate 2, and they are. We need to go ahead and turn our auto RCS switches to turn off. We need to go ahead and set our AC roll to off, and then configure the rest of our switches as such. I believe I'm just following the checklist here. Okay. So, now we're going to go ahead and configure our DAP with verb 48. We're going to go verb 24, enter, 11112, enter, 01111, enter. Proceed, proceed, proceed. We're going to ensure that our rotational hand controller is in AC/DC and direct is off, which it is. We're going to ensure that we are in POO. Okay, we're going to obtain our PTC angles, which we know, which is pitch and yaw of 331. We're going to perform verb 62, enter. We're going to perform a maneuver to the PTC attitude. Our current roll is very close to 0 because we're still at the burn attitude, so I'm actually going to leave the top number as it is because that's very close to our current roll. So we're going to instead change register 2 to 33100, and then do verb 23, enter, to plus 33100, enter. And we can see those needles on the error needles updating. Now we can go ahead and switch us to CMC auto. And we will proceed with the auto maneuver. So we're currently set to wide CMC deadband with that digital autopilot change. So it does actually take the computer a little bit to kind of get going with the maneuver. That DAP change would be the top line of 11112 instead of 11102. So the 1 means a wide deadband. The 0 in the 4th position means a small deadband. So we change it to a wide deadband because obviously during PTC we want to try and conserve fuel and not have the jets constantly knocking us around, especially since the crew often would perform other tasks or even try and get some shut-eye during the PTC, during the coasting phase. So generally we want to minimize thruster activity. In addition to that, the natural rotation of PTC will effectively stabilize the spacecraft to some degree, depending on how quickly it's spinning and the center of mass, etc. The spacecraft can actually be more stable in a rotating state than it is when it's just sitting and just pointing in a certain direction. So we are getting relatively close here to our attitude, almost there. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and continue on and make sure that we've got the rest of our stuff here. We're going to turn on limit cycle, which again should help reduce the thruster activity when we're in SCS. I'm going to go ahead and adjust our thruster settings a bit more. We probably want to wait until we arrive at the proper attitude, because messing with our thrusters while the computer's trying to perform a maneuver is generally not a good idea. So since that is the next thing in the checklist, and you can see this arrow needle is actually going too high up, so it's not going to stop until it kind of hits the edge of that deadband, because again, the deadband is wide, so the computer just kind of lets it go. It's a little more loose with when it actually stops the maneuver here. So we can see it's still going here, but it will come to a stop shortly. And once once the attitude kind of comes back to the deadband, it'll kick it in the other direction, and it'll be all right. So anyway, the computer has brought us relatively close to the position it wants, and we are within its own sense of deadband of where it allows us to be. So that's all right. So now we are safe to go ahead and update our thruster selection. So we need pitch A3 to main A, pitch C3 and A4 off, the middle position, pitch C4 to main A, yaw D3 and B4 to off, and that's it. So we're turning off basically most of our two out of our 4 pitch and yaw thrusters. We're going to go ahead and set manual attitude roll to accelerate command, or accel command. We're going to switch the spacecraft to SCS control. We're going to cage the BMAGs, put them in the middle position at 1, rate 2. We're going to switch back on over to the computer here and hit enter to leave the auto maneuver screen. And we're going to initiate a 0.1 degree per second roll rate.
Translation, rotation.
Make sure we're in rotation. And currently my FDAI scale here is set to the upper position, so a rate of 1 degree. So all I need to do is reach anywhere between center and one of these closest notches here, and that will be anywhere between 1/10 of a degree per second and 2/10 of a degree per second, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gradations, and full scale on either side is 1 degree per second. So a tenth would be 1/10 of this full range in this rate scale. So I just go ahead and tap, and that's good enough. We are now in PTC, and we can leave the spacecraft to drift as it is. We're in rate high SCS. If I wanted to time warp while I am in PTC, I would switch control from SCS to CMC free, which will completely eliminate any sort of deadband area. So the thrusters now will not fire to correct our position. As I said, since we are rotating, that will naturally sort of stabilize our attitude to some degree, but over a long period of time, we may start to drift out in some direction or other. So you may, if you're doing this for long periods of time, you may need to stop, bring it back into SCS control, or preferably, if you've drifted very far out, switch to CMC hold, and then manually maneuver back to the specified PTC degrees, and resume the roll using the procedure here. But remember that your thrusters have been disabled on this panel here. So if you do need to maneuver around, be sure to re-enable them. Generally, what you would want to do if you drift too far out and you need to stop what you're doing and restart PTC from scratch, generally just go into the checklist MFD and manually rerun the entire PTC procedure from start to finish. That way you can be sure that all of your switches are going to be in the proper position, your DAP is going to be configured correctly, and everything will be hunky-dory. But if you are going to be doing other things in the spacecraft and you want to be totally sure it's not going to drift out and you don't plan on time warping, then leave it in SCS with the BMAGS cage. That will keep you in, I believe, a 5-degree, a 4 or 5 degree window of error before it kicks the thrusters back. So very minimal fuel usage. And that's PTC. Generally, it just matters to maneuver to the correct position, update the DAP, configure your thrusters, and then just switch the roll to Excel command, and then just kind of kick the spacecraft into a left or right roll at a very slow rate. Very slow in this case, so about somewhere between, probably closer to about 0.2 of a degree per second, but that's totally fine. Spinning slightly fast is not going to hurt you. And in fact, later and other missions changed the PTC procedure and in a bunch of different ways, including the rate at which you spin and even how you get into the spin. So anyway, that's probably way more information than you needed to know. So hopefully this helps.